My name is Pastor Cletus Onuche AGADA. I am an area superintendent of the Apostolic Church, Gwagwalada area in Lomna Territory, Nigeria. I was born in Ogugu, Olamabaro local government of Kogi State. Olamabaro is the eastern part of Kogi State, and it's a kind of a rural place. In fact, when I was very young, I thought that my village is in the center of the world. But later in life, I discovered that it's one of the remotest of the remote. I had a kind of background that is of a pagan background. My mother was the second wife of my father, and I was the only boy among 4 girls. In the middle of them was the third born of my mother. And being the last son of my father, I was very close to my father, and at that time, my father was a pagan, so an idol worshiper and also an oracle consultant. Following him gave me an opportunity to learn a little about the Ifa oracle. And in fact, I got interested in becoming one of the Ifa boys. And like the AGADA will say, a jiga malin and an agbodi. And that is saying that a boy who carries the idol in the basket, whenever they are going for the Ibegu in Ghana, a kind of festival to celebrate the New Year festival or new season of farm crops. So we used to celebrate it, and my father used to be one of the chief idol consultant, carrying those idols to the place and the place of festival. In fact, make us get so much interest in idol worship because of the sacrifices and the plenty of panderiam and those things that they will celebrate with. They will eat and drink, festival of so many things. But as a young child, I never knew that God has a destiny for my life. My mother now said I must follow her to Catholic Church because she attended Catholic Church. So my interest in following her was because in my village, we have the Apostolic Church in my own village, but the nearest village we have Catholic Church, and that's where my mother goes when she was alive. And because the father, we came from my community called Ogugu, I will follow my mother in the van of the Reverend Fathers. Sometimes it could be a sister coming with pickup, and they will take us from our village to the neighboring village where there is Catholic Church. I grew up like that. And because of the way the Catholic worship with so much reverence and ceremony, I told my mom, I said, I would like to be a reverend father. She didn't take that matter easily because being the only boy that she had, she said, if I got involved in catechism, becoming a reverend father, I will not be able to marry. And so she will have no offspring from my side. She told me categorically that she would not want me to be a reverend father because being in the husband house as the second wife, if there's no offspring of her own that bears my father's name, she would lose her place in my father's house. So she discouraged me from joining the catechism to become a reverend father. On and on we're going until my uncle came and took me away from the village around 1981 to Gwagwalada, Abuja, to continue my primary education. So after about 5 years, I was taken back to the village. And I still told my mother that I have interest in Catholic Church. My growing up in the village with my father as a Ifa consultant and idol worshiper was full of so many experiences. There was one particular day, I think I remember I was about 9 to 8 years. I woke up around 11. I looked for my dad, I didn't see him. So when I went out, it was around 12 midnight when the moon was in the sky. So I saw my father made a circle of arches around the compound, and he tied a kind of covering, and she was trying to make some kind of incantation, and he looked up, and after making some prayer, can I call it prayer or incantation, she blew the ashes. And when he finished, I asked, Daddy, what is the meaning of this thing that you're doing? He told me something that shocked my life. He said, whenever you have a case that troubles you, you no longer consult the Ifa, but you look at the maker of heaven and earth, who brought over the world, and ask him directly. And I said, Baba, what did you ask God? He said a woman gave him an orange to plant, and now that the orange is yielding, the woman said he don't want his own children to eat out of that orange, and she went and put juju on the orange. So he's now talking to God, and God should hear his prayer to make the orange dry. And before we know it, before a month, the orange began to wither. Then when I grew up later in life to know about God, I said, so even all this idol worshiper know about the living God. And I said, he refused to consult the oracle, but he looked to God and spoke direct. That increased my faith till today. And that is why sometimes when I hear that song they sing Yoruba, I say, Ọlọ́run àwọn bàbá wa o, Ọlọ́run àwọn bàbá wa. It made me remember that God that my father spoke to that night. So then I believe that there's another God in heaven that is higher than idol worshiper. That is when my faith began to develop for the living God. I am happy about that experience.
My calling, a pastor's story.
As a young boy, I was very young that time, between 9 to 11 years. So I didn't practice that idol on my own. I was just following my dad. So I have not learned much before I was taken from the village. Yes, around 1981, I joined my younger ones, my elderly ones, to attend the primary school in my village, LG. At that time, they would say your hand must touch your ear there. So I stayed a long time with my father, but until my hand could touch my ear. So when they enrolled in school, but I spent a year in that school before I was taken to Gwagwalada, Abuja, to continue my primary school with my uncle then. Yes, when I finished my primary school, I came back home around 1985. So I was able to finish a commercial school. My dad said he had no money to train me in secondary school, so that I should struggle myself. So having palm trees, I learned how to climb palm tree, tap palm wine, and cut banga to sell for people, to be able to do a commercial college for about 3 to 4 years in my village. So after graduating from that college, I was invited to our local government to take a secretarial duty. But just as I was preparing, the same uncle who trained me in primary school sent a message to me that a brother was inviting me to Lagos to look for a job opportunity or to further my school. But before then, I had a revelation, because when I came back from Abuja, my mother discouraged me from continuing a Catholic church. So I decided to attend the Apostolic Church just one evening to see how they do their service. As I just entered, that time they call it evening revival. In Igala they call it Ishoji. That's in Igala. So while they were singing, a woman from nowhere just came out and grabbed me by the waist, and she was prophesying Yoruba. She was speaking in tongues I cannot remember, but what I remember from her very well was that he said, Omo kikiri to fe sise Oluwa. And she was saying other things. But that is what I heard from her. And later, I asked for interpretation. They said, this is the young man who wants to do the work of God. And he said that God will use me if I come out to be a full servant of God in the Apostolic Church. Then I ran to my mother and asked her, I said, the church I attended, they said though, that God said I want to be a servant of God, and that if I am willing, God will use me. And I asked them, would they allow any pastor to marry in the Apostolic Church? And they said yes. Then my mother said, okay, if it is the Apostolic Church will work and still marry, I permit you. That is when I developed interest in attending the Apostolic Church from that night. And that is how I was able to finish my commercial school around that 1987, 88. And as soon as I finished, the call was heavy. So while we were praying together as a group of youth, there was a prophet from a young lady. He said, my son, what of your decision to join the full-time ministry? Then I remembered. As I decided to join, immediately she told me again and said, God said I should wait. That if I join now, the very person I'm going to work with may not take things easy with me. So I said, what am I going to face? He said, as a young man, you pass through stages that you may run away. I said, if it is an issue of running away, let me endure it. So that at the end of the day, I may not see something that will make me run away later. And I joined 1991. Precisely April 9, 1991, I joined the full-time ministry in the Apostolic Church.
My calling, a pastor's story.
Yes, when the woman told me, because I already had the zeal to be a reverend father, and now that the woman said through prophecy that God is calling me to join the ministry as a young guy in the Apostolic Church, I went to prayers. I went to pray to be personally convinced. So at that time, as a young man from Catholic Church, they told me that if you want to hear from God, you should fast and wait on God. So I fasted 3 days. And the last day, my friend Ezekiel told me that I should not eat heavy food. That if I want God to reveal himself to me, I should not eat heavy food that night. So I was sleeping around 10 p.m. I felt a hand toast me up. And that's why I found myself in paradise. I saw the beautiful garden, the golden street. I saw how it's beautiful. And then I understood that in paradise, you can stay any position. You can stay at any position and you will not be tired. Let's say you can just put your one of leg and raise one leg for 1,000 years. You will not feel any pain because every condition in paradise is very conducive. There I understand that you can even swim in the water and you will still be breathing inside the water. There I saw that while you want to eat any fruit, you find yourself under that fruit, not that you go to taste it, but see the fruit, you'll be satisfied. So God showed me so many things. I said, this is paradise. But the amazing thing was that they showed me another city that was fenced. And I was seeing the glory of that city radiating like as if somebody threw this, what do you call it? This banger that I used to throw, I used to spark and show. So I was seeing sparkling of stars over the fence, and the angel that was guiding me said, this is a place prepared for soul winners. That I should go back to the world, if I win souls, that the stars I'm seeing are the stars that will be on the crown of as many who wins, as many souls you want for Jesus. And I said, no, I don't want to even live here. Let me remain here forever, because every situation, every condition is very. I just want to even stand here to be beholding the beauty of this place. And the angel said, you must go back. So while I was doing like this, he said, leave me, I'll not go. I found myself on the bed. That's God for you. So that is when I began to feel that, yes, God is one calling me to the ministry. After that conviction, because I had not come out fully yet, a brother invited me to come to Lagos. So I went to Lagos. While I was on my way to Lagos, I was thinking that if I can see any beautiful building like the one I saw, I will conclude that maybe it is Lagos I saw much. But as we're coming, all I saw in Lagos to, I think that time, I was a young boy, went to, what is this place? I think they took me to Falomo and Agege or something like that. So I didn't say anything. So my friend that was leading me said, this bush boy, this is your first time in Lagos. Nothing amazes you, not even the road. Why are you just quiet? You didn't say anything. I said, well, there's something I saw in my revelation. And I want to confirm if I can see any beautiful street or road like that. So that I'll be convinced that, yes, that is what I saw in my dream. No one amazed me. And so I decided, I said, well, if I cannot see any building like the one I saw, it's better for me to go back home and join the full-time ministry so that I'll finish my ministry as a soul winner and get to heaven. I came back from, I didn't stay much in Lagos, I went back. And that's when I tendered my application to join the full-time ministry in 1991 in Angpam, my district center then, in Kogi State. Yes. When I joined the ministry in 1991, my district apostle then, late Pastor D. Oladoku, said that the church cannot sponsor 2 people now because my senior then was Pastor N.J. Megida, so that it's Pastor N.J. Megida that would go to school before I could go. And before that time, I would spend 2 years as a probation, so that I stayed along. But after a year, Pastor Naruko was transferred to Jeba, and they gave us Pastor F.A., late Pastor A. Falola. When he came, he said, well, school matter is about those who pass the exam. A lot of us go for interview. So anybody who pass the exam will be taken. And that's so I went for the interview, and I passed the exam. I was taken. So I spent about 2 years in Lona Bible College, Elisha. Yes, to finish my certificate in theology. And I thank God that my experience in Elisha helped me to grow very well in the doctrine of the church and ministerial aspect of the ministry in the global vision. So many things happened, but to God be the glory in all. God help us to skate through. It was difficult. I thank God for my principal then, Father Pastor D.O. Ajibade. He said during our graduation, he said, this young man has a serious financial problem, but you can never see it on his face, because God gave me the ability to rejoice in every situation. He said it during our graduation, because then it was not easy. How to pay school fees. When I managed to come and pay my school fees, by the time we vacate, I have to borrow money from the principal of the school to go back home until the next semester. I will come pay the money, struggle again to go back, borrow money. But I thank God the Lord saw us through. I graduated from Lona Bible College in 1995, precisely May. We graduated, and coming back to the ministry, immediately I got to Agpa, I was transferred to Okra Some to continue there as a Lona worker. I ministered in Okra for about a year, and I was transferred to Makurdi in 1996 under late Pastor M.A. Toromade, M.A. Toromade, 1996, as a worker. We labored in Makurdi for about 2 years with Papa Toromade, And Tromade told me, said, young man, you'll be very famous in this ministry. I want to recommend you for ordination, but unless you get married. So we started pursuing the issue of my waiting upon God. And one funny thing about the choice of my marriage was, being a young man from the village, I had inferiority complex. And I never wanted to get involved with any person that is wiser than me or educated than me. Because while in school in 1995, one of my friends, Pastor F.A. Odenike, is now an Ira Superintendent and Governor Baba, he introduced two ladies to me. As at that time, one of them was an accountant in Lagos. And one of them, the other one was, I can't remember. He said I should pray over them that if God choose anyone for me to be good. And I said, no, I cannot choose anybody from town because I am from the bush. And then one of the things I have with about Yoruba guys, I said, an Igala man can eat any food without meat. But then I heard that Yoruba will not eat any food without meat. So I said, I can't involve myself. If you marry a Yoruba person now, and you say the place you are now, no food, no meat in your food. So that is when I said, I will not marry. And then all along, I started praying, God, show me the wife I'm going to marry, because in the ministry, I cannot choose the wife for myself, because if I choose the wife for myself and it's not called to the ministry. So I prayed until 1997, when God revealed to me who my wife is going to be. By the time I make contact with the lady, I discovered that we had met in Nangpa around 1992. We had met there, but just briefly. So when God revealed to me, I told God, this one will be wiser than me, because she was staying with her stepfather who was a soldier. So when she accepted me, we prayed. We prayed, and God said I should go and inform her. I called her. I sent the letter through one of my friends. Say no, she's not interested in marrying Igala again, because an Igala girl who suffered the death of her father at a young age, and said she thought that Igala people are wicked, that she will not marry Igala. But as the prayer continues, God revealed himself to her. He said in her dream, she saw herself sitting down on a stone, and one elderly person told her, sit here and wait, because somebody is coming to meet you. And when the person comes, the person will tell you what you are standing here for. And in her dream, he said, she waited there for many hours and she saw me. And when I came, I said, okay, let's go. And she said, for what? Then I told her, we are going to preach in the next village. And she woke up. That was when she was convinced that I am the right choice for her. And this also was confirmed by her pastor then in Wuse too. She worshipped at Wuse too then. And the pastor was Obona, Pastor Obona. I think it's an apostle now in the Eurovision. That is how God helped me to get my marital partner in the ministry. We did our wedding in 1998, May 9th.